The American government is shutting down, and the Democrats are celebrating. I think libertarians should be celebrating because it's great when the government shuts down. If anything, it should shut down forever. But anyway, Democrats are embracing the risky politics of a government shutdown to rein in president, activists say. In holding the line on healthcare, Democrats answered the call to do something in a rare display of unity. For months, as Donald Trump has used the levers of the US federal government to consolidate power, silence dissent, and punish his political enemies, like the Democrats have been doing for like the last 4 fucking years. It's okay when we do it. Democrats have been bombarded with a single demand: do something. Last week, they did by doing nothing, as in literally stopping working. In a rare display of unity, out of power Democrats embrace the risky politics of a government shutdown. Their boldest effort yet to rein in a president who many Americans and constitutional scholars now view as a threat to US democracy. What was it that happened with the election where Biden won again? What were you trying to do? He was a political candidate. He was going to be running for the presidency, and you were trying to put him in jail so that he couldn't. You were trying really hard to put them in jail. So this is the thing is the one thing I've noticed with these people is they accuse you of the very thing that they themselves are doing all the time, all the fucking time. This is a threat to our democracy. Only we are allowed to jail our political opponents and silence dissent and use the institutions and social media to stop the spread of misinformation, and what also known as people pointing out all the bad shit that we're fucking doing. Only we are allowed to do that. Anyone else who doesn't do that, only we're allowed to be a threat to democracy. Anyone else is a threat to our democracy. Is a fucking joke, man. It's not a fight for fighting's sake, said Adam Green, co-founder of the Progressive Change Campaign Committee, one of the outside groups closely coordinating with Democratic leaders on Capitol Hill. This is a battle about Donald Trump's attacks on the Constitution and him seizing the power over all spending from Congress and whether Congress is going to let him get away with that. Washington is bracing for what could be an extended government shutdown, which officially began at 12:01 a.m. on Wednesday. Last week, Senate Democrats repeatedly blocked a Republican funding measure to reopen the government as the parties traded blame on each side, insisted that they would not bend to the other's demands. Your terms are acceptable. Oh no, the government's been shut down. What a shame. And things are just going to keep ticking over like they always usually do. Because this is the thing that's funny, and I've said this a million times. The government doesn't actually produce anything. They don't produce. The government provides services. No, what the government does is takes your money and then gives it to the private companies who then provide the services. And the government obviously takes its cut because those brown children in the Middle East aren't going to bomb themselves. And obviously, Israel always needs money. You know, despite being full of Jews, really, really bad with money. Always borrowing it, always needing more. It's crazy that. I guess stereotypes aren't true. But anyway, Democrats are pressing for an array of healthcare centre priorities, including the extension of tax credits for Affordable Care Act, set to expire at the end of the year. The White House and Republicans, who control both chambers of Congress, have refused to include any healthcare concessions as part of a deal to reopen the government, though some GOP lawmakers are open to extending the ACA subsidies. Democrats, with little leverage and deep skepticism that Republicans will honour any future deal, view the shutdown as their only option to force the issue. But the Trump administration is working to make the closures as painful as possible for Democrats, who Republicans accuse of trying to sabotage the president's agenda. And yeah, well, I mean, that's what democracy is. You've got the great big room with the big comfy chairs and all the great big posh rich cunts in it who've all got their own little plans for the government and they all conflict with each other. So what they'll do is whenever a government gets voted in, they do a bunch of shit and then the next government that comes in after them spends a bunch of time undoing all the previous shit, and then that government comes back in and redoes it and undoes the other party's shit, and it's back and forth. Basically, democratic governments are, was it one step forward, 3 steps backwards. Right, that's what it is. That's why. Why is nothing being done? That's why. Because you turned it into a football game. That's why it's a football game. Everybody's just trying to score goals against each other instead of, doing things for the people that actually live in the country. That's why. This is why monarchy's better. Now, I'm not saying that and that I love monarchy. Right, I'm just saying, would you rather have the cold or the flu? Both are bad, but you'd much rather have a cold, wouldn't you? right? Just the same as monarchy or democracy, both are bad, but you'd much rather have a monarchy. Trump has called the shutdown an unprecedented opportunity to dismantle federal programs and what he called Democrat agencies. In a sharp break from precedent, the Trump administration is readying plans to permanently layoffs. I guess just meant to say lay off federal workers while it takes punitive action against Democratic-led states. Several government departments have posted partisan and potentially illegal messages saying that their operations are curtailed due to the radical left Democrat shutdown in the Senate. In the Senate, the Majority Leader John Thune has said that he plans to hold more votes on a plan to reopen the government this week. But Democrats say that the stakes are too high and the greater risk is capitulating to the president. Remember, right now, our healthcare system is broken. Right now, we're the only major country on earth not to guarantee healthcare to all people. I mean, that's not true. But anyway, I mean, it is if you can pay for it. Like, that's just not true. Senator Bernie Sanders said in a video with the progressive New York Congresswoman Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez explaining the Democrats' opposition to the Republican funding bill. And these guys want to make it even worse. We're not going to let that happen. Progressive activists who have been sharply critical of the party's congressional leaders, the Senate Democratic leader Chuck Schumer and House Democratic leader Hakeem Jeffries, are now praising them for continuing to hold the line on healthcare. What our members see is Democrats willing to stand up and fight, said Joel Payne, a spokesperson for Move On, which is part of a coalition of progressive groups flooding Democrats with calls to hold fast in shutdown negotiations. Payne said healthcare was Democrats' North Star, the party's strongest issue with voters, and one that has helped propel them to victory in the past. Well, I mean, you were just in for 4 years. Like, why didn't you do it then? Oh, this is a total thing that we want, and as soon as we've got the power to enact it, we're just not going to do it. Just, every politician's the same. I'm totally going to do X, Y, Z, and then they get in and then they don't. And everyone keeps fucking falling for it. I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that, and then they never do. Like, literally none of them do. No one ever has. They go back in every single one of their promises. And then everyone goes, it'll be different. In 4 years, it'll be different when we vote in the new guy. No, it won't be the exact same. It'll be the exact same. It's all a joke, a ruse, a lie. They lie to you to get you to vote for them. And then they deliver on none of their promises, and they don't care because afterwards they'll just get to retire on on a great big fat prime minister or president's fucking pension. But then also they'll get like a 6-figure salary job at some fucking think tank or some shit, or they can fucking work under Blair and fucking become his new Sith apprentice or some shit like that. I fucking hate Tony Blair. I hate him. Like, you had your time in the sun. Just leave. Just fucking leave now, mate. Leave. Get the fuck out. He's Epstein. He must have so much dirt on so many fucking people for him to be able to get away with the shit that he's doing. I'm convinced he's been secretly running the country since he was first brought in. I swear. Payne said, I've just read that. If Democrats were successful, he added, the showdown over healthcare could serve as a blueprint for safeguarding other rights under attack by the administration, but like the right to freedom of speech, like the Democrats were doing for a very long time. But anyway, House Republicans did not need Democrats to pass their short-term spending bill last month, which would fund the government mostly at current levels through 21st of November. But in the Senate, where Republicans hold a 53 to 47 majority, they need Democratic support to clear the 60-vote threshold required to advance most legislation. So far, only 3 members of the Senate Democratic caucus have broken ranks. John Fetterman of Pennsylvania, fucking lurch. All right, Catherine Cortez Masto of Nevada, and Angus King, an independent of Maine. In the House, the Maine Congressman Jared Golden was the only House Democrat to back the Republican funding bill when it passed the House last month. In a statement last week, Golden said the shutdown was the result of hardball politics driven by the demands of far-left groups, eager to show their opposition to Trump. Because that's one thing that people keep pointing out as well, is what are the Democrats' actual policies? Because it seems like for the last 12 years, they've just been running on, not Trump, Trump bad, Trump won't do thing, we no want that thing. And loads of people, there was a guy going around asking Democrat voters, what are the Democrats' policies, and they couldn't tell you. They couldn't actually say what they were. They didn't fucking know, because all they do is Trump bad, Trump bad, Trump bad, Trump bad. That's it. That better not get clipped. That better not be my Jew, 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 Jew. Oh no, that's good. Oh no, that clip's even worse. But anyway, early polling suggests voters are more inclined to blame Trump and Republicans than Democrats for the federal shutdown. A Washington Post poll released on Thursday found that by a 17 percentage point margin, Americans blame Republicans for the shutdown. Independents overwhelmingly sided with Democrats, the survey found. Yet, there were signs public opinion could shift as more Americans face the ripple effects of government-wide closures. In several polls, a significant share of voters said that they held both parties equally responsible or were unsure of whom to blame. The calls for Democrats to take a harder line against Trump has been building for months across the Across the country, progressive activists, disaffected Republicans, and voters outraged by the administration's actions have packed town halls, marched in protest, and launched campaigns of their own, sending a clear message to Democrats: step up or step aside. Everybody wants a fighter, said Lanny Erickson, senior vice president at the centrist think tank Third Way, that is often at odds with the party's left flank. Erickson said the focus on healthcare, an issue which unifies the party's diverse coalition and falls squarely in the Venn diagram of things voters care about, was both good politics and good policy. The ACA subsidies are a real ask, she said. If Democrats got that, it would be a way to declare victory in this moment. Democrats feel confident going to battle over healthcare. A Kaiser Family Foundation poll showed that 78% of Americans support extending the credits, which disproportionately benefit Republican-held congressional districts. Without action, insurance premiums for millions of Americans could double next year, according to an analysis by KFF. Democrats have also sought to reverse Medicaid cuts included in Trump's marquee tax and immigration package, which the nonpartisan Congressional Budget Office projects will leave 10 million more Americans uninsured over the next decade. Now, I'm not 100% certain of how insurance actually works over in America, so I'm not going to comment too much on that. But is it not just a case you just get health insurance? You just, like, I've got health insurance, and if anything's wrong with me, I get to go to a nice private hospital. It's great. Instead of waiting for 6 months on the NHS and shit like that. I mean, I suppose it's alright when you've got the money, but I don't know how it works over there. How does it work? What if you get hit by a fucking car or something and you go to the emergency room? Do they go like, do you have money? No, die then. Like, how does it work? I actually have no idea how it works. Republicans have countered by falsely claiming Democrats forced a shutdown to provide free health benefits to undocumented immigrants. Bear in mind, this is The Guardian that I'm reading. The White House has taunted Democrats with a deepfake video of Schumer and Jeffries wearing a sombrero and fake mustache that has been widely denounced as racist. Vance laughed off the criticism, calling the video funny. Democrats like Gavin Newsom, the governor of California, fired back with memes and taunts of their own. In one tweet, Newsom's press team posted an AI-generated image of Trump in a towering wig and an 18th century gown. Trump Marie Antoinette says, no healthcare for you peasants, but a ballroom for the Queen. That's shite. That's shite. Start being edgy again. How much is left in this? I'm not reading the rest of this. I need to stop filming these at the end of the day. But anyways, yeah, I like it when government shut down. I think it's great. I think it's wonderful. Because one thing as well is I've only just realised looking at the camera that the boys have fucked with me and they've made my chair small. There we go. You fucking bastards. I was wondering, I'm sitting there a little tiny. I'm here to bring you the news. Little 5'2" me. There are some people that think I'm 5'3". I'm not. I'm 5'10". But anyway, I like it when the government shuts down. Because one thing that a lot of people have realised is that even when the government shuts down, everything ticks over like normal and nothing really changes. Wow, it's almost like they don't actually fucking do anything.